They were one of the world's biggest boy bands, and this weekend, after 30 years, Boyzone are sharing their story in a brand new, jaw-dropping documentary series. Wow. Boyzone's Shane Lynch joins me now. Hello.
Good morning.
Gosh, how does it feel now that this weekend this is going to be out there for you?
It's been a 2.5 or so year journey, believe it or not. It's been a long, long time from the day this idea of documentary came up, and to have the final arrival this Sunday, I think it's fantastic. And I mean, the last week of premieres that we've had, the press has been unbelievable. Like, we really felt important, I think. You know?
Oh. And it's so... You didn't actually want to do it at first, did you? Because Ronan, it came to him, didn't it, as an idea from the... But you were not sure.
Well, I was apprehensive of myself going back into an industry which I find difficult, or found difficult. And I do my best to kind of stay away from it as much as I can. And I think travelling the world, for me, is no more of a plan. Like, I love being at home. I love being with my family. I love that side of the things. I don't mind doing the odd TV shows here or there, but that life is a crazy life. So I think kind of looking at bringing me or regressing back into that point might have been.
And just to, because it comes out this week, I saw the 3 hours of it yesterday. It takes you on an enormous journey. Like, I cried.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, you know, oh my gosh, like they were massive. You know, you get all the highs and lows. We go through it. And the reason that is because it is so raw.
Yeah.
All of you are incredibly truthful in it. Did that surprise you? Because you, just to be clear to people who will see it, none of you were in the same room during these interviews. So presumably, Shane, you watched it and heard things from the other boys. You were like, you learned new things about them.
Yeah, I think brilliantly. You know, the girl who got the best out of us, Sophie, she was amazing for just us trusting in her. And, you know, the guys are curious and putting the documentary together. It's not a fluffy pop doc by all means.
In any way,
it's pretty deep and it's dark at points.
So tell us a bit about the kind of things that you went back to that were difficult that we'll see in the documentary.
I don't even think it was too difficult for myself talking about it. I actually find it, I wouldn't say therapeutic, but I found it enjoyable. That kind of remembering certain things. And I'd forgotten a lot. Believe me, I forgot a lot about that world. But watching the doc itself, as you rightly said, hearing the other boys' story, I learned so much about them boys watching this, more than I've ever had living with them for the last 30 years as such. And just their journey, their emotions, their hard times that they went through, that for me, I was in my own survival mode. I didn't have time for them and what they were going through, you know?
And there's so much joy in this as well. I mean, this is what I'm saying. There's an enormous amount of joy in it. You know, all the hope of these young Irish lads, you know, from really working class backgrounds, all of them desperate for a way out, really, for something new, for something big in their lives to happen, and you made it happen. And then, of course, we see the highs, and then, of course, Stephen and the way he was treated in the newspapers. I think that was one of the hardest things for me to watch. And his sister, Stephen's sister, makes a really important part of this documentary, doesn't she? She
does. Michelle is a beautiful soul. She's very like Stephen, actually. And we were hanging out with her the other night in the Irish premiere, and it was just beautiful to be around her, because Steve and her are such alike in their personalities and everything. And he's like he was there himself in the room, you know. But fair play to her. It's a big thing to step in front of cameras, and there's a lot of cameras. You know, Sky did an unbelievable job. I walked into a set, like a TV set like this, and I was like, whoa, this is important.
It is, and the thing that, like, made me gasp, I have to say, is the bit where the actual tabloid journalist who outed Stephen for being gay in the newspaper, essentially against his will. Were you shocked? I was shocked that you managed to get the person who wrote that to be, I wrote that. I outed him. You know, it's extraordinary to me.
Yeah, I think that's what's brilliant about this story, is the real people are in it. We're not talking about them. The actual faces who did certain things, you're seeing them talking about it themselves. And even that is magical to have them, as difficult as it would have been back then.
Yeah, and there was this sort of, you know, and Louis Walsh is in it a lot, actually, of course. He managed you guys, and there's a lot of, you know, people will come away thinking all sorts of different things about how he comes across, I'm sure. But there was just a get you in the papers at no matter what cost. And there were stories, a bit like, you know, there's something about a plane crash that had apparently happened with all you boys in it, which I think loads of us will remember. Yeah. Completely made up and completely planted, wasn't it, by Louis?
Believe it or not, it wasn't completely made up. We did not crash, but we emergency landed in the desert in Australia. That is a true story.
So it was all the volume
One prop did go down, and we had to emergency land in the desert. So there was some truth to that, by all means.
I mean, but it was all... How has it been? Because Mikey in it is a really important part because he struggled probably the most in the band, and he has kept himself away from the premiere, hasn't he? But in it, there's a lot of redemption, there's a lot of rupture and a lot of pain and a lot of people looking at their own souls. Ronan is very, very honest about his own things that he feels guilty about, still possibly, but there must be a lot of repair that's happened between you all through doing the documentary.
Yeah, believe it or not, I haven't spoken to Mikey for quite a few years, and then when I saw the documentary, the first draft of it, I couldn't help myself but to call him and just say, look, you did amazingly. He made the documentary for me, for the watching of it. I was delighted for him to tell his story, and again, just that honesty from him was incredible and impeccable, and a very difficult thing for him to do, to actually come and join us on the documentary, because we were very unsure that was going to happen. So to have the completion of all of us was fabulous, and he did an amazing job. I'm very proud of him, actually.
Yeah, well, I think it's an amazing thing for all of you to have done. What is the relationship like now, and will we ever see you together making music again, do you think, as Boyzone?
No.
OK.
And I say this in the greatest respect. You know, we will always be a band called Boyzone, but we'll never be a band again. I don't think we'll ever make music again. It's not our territory as a world. We've been there and done it. But to share a stage together, I think we would all be more than up for it, because that's a little night of fun, night on the town for everybody else, you know, including us. And that would be a beautiful thing, whether that happens or not.
Well, for me, it's honestly, there's been a lot of this stuff out there, lots of pop stars looking back on their lives, but I have to say this is the one that's had the most impact on me watching it. I mean, it's emotional, and it's a social history of Ireland in many ways, and about what homosexuality was treated like, and pop stars and the media. I mean, it's got everything packed in it. And so thank you so much for being so honest. It's an amazing watch.
No, a pleasure, honestly. And everyone who made this film, great job.
Well, listen, you can see No Matter What on Sky Documentaries and Now Channel this Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, hi there. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel, where we upload new videos every single day. Click here if you're interested in this video, or head to the homepage for more amazing content.